This $30 stopwatch from the Soviet era doubled my productivity, and here's the exact problem that it solves. When I was in college, I used to use something called the pomodoro technique. So it looks basically like this: 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes of break, 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes of break. I didn't like it. I thought it was ass. And the reason was because whenever I was in the 25-minute work block, what would happen is I would be in anticipation of the timer going off so that I could take my break. And when I was in the break, well, I will just be, procrastinating on the break, and I'll extend my break as much as I could. So before you know it, what the actual schedule looked like was, like 25 minutes of break and 5 minutes of work. That's what would end up happening, and I would not get anything done. I would actually say that raw dogging productivity, like actually not using any kind of technique and just studying or working, worked better than the Pomodoro technique. And I think fundamentally that's because in the Pomodoro technique, it's essentially work equals bad and breaks equals good. And that's kind of built into the system. But hey, all that changes today. I'm going to give you a way better method. So what's the difference between a stopwatch and a timer? With a timer, you set the time, so let's say it's 25 minutes, and then it counts to 0. But the stopwatch is the opposite. You start at 0 and then go up to any time that you want. So how does this work? There's only 2 rules. So when you start working, you hit start. And when you stop working because you want to go to the bathroom, you're distracted, you're tired, you want to break, whatever it might be, you hit stop. And that's honestly the whole thing. So what's the name of this technique? I don't have an official name, but I just call it the AGAT method because that's the name of the Soviet company which creates these stopwatches. I'm going to give you some examples so that this actually makes sense. So you've seen people who say that they've been working all day, but if you actually observe them, they really work for 2 hours and they goof off all day. This might be you. This was me. And honestly, this is all of us, right? We say we work for 4 hours, but really if you actually look at it, you work for more like 2 hours, and then the rest 2 hours were just like taking breaks and goofing off. The thing is, this technique, it keeps you accountable to the true amount of work that you've actually done. The cool part about all this is that it makes work fun. This is essentially a toy. It's tactile, it's fun to use, and it makes it a game for myself. For example, to grow my channel, well, I need to make videos. To make videos, I need to do research. So what I do is, once I start doing the research, I will hit go, and then I will continue to do the research. The second I get distracted or I stop doing the research, I hit stop. So if I want to go to the bathroom or anything. And then I only stop doing research when I have a cumulative score of 2 hours on this dial. So what I mean by that is, it might take me like 4 hours. So long as I get 2 hours of work done within that 4 hours, I'll consider myself to have successfully completed 2 hours of research. So what's the benchmarks? It's super easy. All I hold myself to is every day, can I do 4 to 6 hours of real work per day? And so long as I'm doing that, I'm actually making progress. The only exception to this is, of course, Sunday. Sunday is reserved for purposely working less and thinking more, and also it's for religious purposes. So what's the benefits of this method? I'm glad you asked. The first benefit is that I control the pacing. In the Pomodoro technique, the bloody timer controls the pacing of my work. It's stupid. But with this, I'm in control. If I feel super focused and productive, awesome. I'll just keep working. And when I need the break, I have the luxury of taking a break. And that's the great thing about this technique. It's very flexible. You can literally take as many breaks as you want. There's no restrictions on this. The only restriction is that you stop your timer when you're taking the break. And the funny thing is, you're not interested in extending your break indefinitely because you know that the timer isn't ticking. So this technique actually allows you to train something very important. So basically get a focus score, because when you hit stop on your stopwatch and you look at the time, well, if it says 5 minutes, it means you've been focused for 5 minutes. And if you've been focused for 30 minutes, it's going to reflect that. In fact, this is a lot of fun. You're going to feel really motivated and proud of yourself as you see these numbers slowly go up. In the start, you might be only able to focus for 10 minutes at a time, maybe even less, right? And as you use this method more and more, you're going to find that your focus stretches. The amount of time you can spend focused on a given task is prolonged. Essentially, the same as endurance training, but except for your mind rather than the body. And I love this because sometimes, even though you're working hard, there's just challenges in the way and you aren't able to surmount them, you aren't able to succeed. But so long as your focus is increasing, you know that you are building yourself up as an asset. You know how they say the work works on you more than you work on it? This method actually allows you to make that into a game. For example, let's say that you're a software engineer and you have to write some code. Let's say it doesn't happen, doesn't come to fruition, the code doesn't work. So long as your focus has been improving as a result of this technique, even if the code never reaches completion, you have improved. But why does this all matter? There's this quote from Sneeko, of all people, which is getting a lot of traction these days, which is, "Only a slave measures himself by his productivity." But the thing is, it's not about the productivity. Let me explain. If you want to win, you must lean in. What do I mean by this? When I was in college, I was always interested in doing the least amount of work to get the best possible outcome. I was trying to min-max my way through college. And here's the thing, I actually succeeded. I got into one of the most prestigious biosciences programs in the country, but then reality finally caught up with me. I hadn't built myself up as an asset. And as a result, I never earned my PhD. I had leaned out instead of leaning in. And then I joined the US Army Infantry. And here I went through basic training. Here I missed a golden opportunity to go to Ranger School. Ranger School is the premier small unit tactics pipeline in the entire world, really. I could have gone there, but I didn't because I had leaned out. I didn't lean into the training. And even in relationships, I had met the perfect girl. And when she leaned in, I leaned out. As much as I regret all this stuff, it doesn't matter. I can't fix any of these. I can only fix the behaviors that I do going forward. The first thing that I really leaned into was my business. I own a consulting firm that specializes in men's hormonal health and mental performance. And the cool thing is, me and my team are actually flying to LA next week to meet Sam Ovens, who is one of the best CEOs. He's a billionaire. And the only reason I can walk through that door is because of the opportunities afforded to me because I leaned in. And now I'm going to destroy a lie that you probably believe. Looking at this picture, you probably think that I'm going to dunk on the work-life balance concept. That's not true. I'm going to give you a completely different way to look at this. I think the better way to look at this is what actions or behaviors move you towards your goal versus what actions or behaviors move you away from that goal. And this is a far better way to look at it than work-life balance, because it implies that, well, work is not life and that life is good and you should minimize work. Instead, let's just look at it as objective reality. Objective reality is that there are trade-offs. There are some activities which move you away from your goal, and there are some activities which move you towards the goal. Just do more of this and less of this. And now some final words on where you can actually acquire this. So where do you get a beautiful Soviet-era AGAT timepiece? Well, here's the thing. You don't actually need a Soviet-era one, right? It's just the fact that I like things like this, so I purchased it. I like mechanical things. But you don't need that. You can just get a digital one, literally from AliExpress or Amazon. And in fact, even mechanical ones, so you can get cheap ones from AliExpress or Amazon. So this is not really about the fact that this is a cool vintage piece. It's more so the concept of the stopwatch. And the cool thing is, you can actually use one of these, right? This is a Casio. It's like 15 bucks. You can get it from Walmart. And this has a stopwatch function built in. You can just use that. If you like this video and you like the concept and you want to use one of these, well, you don't have to wait for the perfect timepiece. Just get what you can and get started. So before we go, I got to show you something cool, which is this tennis ball. What is this about? Well, the thing is, I've told you that when you're in the AGAT method, well, you can take breaks. But what should you do during those breaks? Most people will get on their phone. I can show you something way better. Just trust me, if you like this video, you're going to like this next one. So with that, boys, I'll catch you in the next one.